Over the last years we have tested a couple of holster brands, but time and time again Safariland came out on top. In this video we will tell you why that is the case, and we'll also be putting our 6300 RDS series to the test with our Walther PDP pistols. So make sure to stick around, because this isn't just another holster review video, this is actually a video that might make you reconsider what's on your belt. In this video we'll share our experience of the Safariland holsters that we have used, as well as some other outside the waistband holsters. Then we will go over the 6300 RDS series that we have acquired for our Walther PDP pistols and show you some pros and cons. Furthermore, we will do some reliability tests that we always do when we review a holster. And then finally, we will show you some draw speed tests between those different types of holsters to see what the results are. But before we dive into the topic of this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button. Also make sure to comment down below to help us out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you are looking for a Safariland holster, make sure to visit ReconBrothers.com. As long as it exists, we can get it for you. All your support is appreciated. Now, as always, let's dive into our bros advice. So brother, what do you have for our viewers today?
Well, let's take a little moment to talk about red dots on pistols, because some people stay away from them because they believe it's like cheating or something. But let us tell you this, there are good reasons why this idea became so popular a couple of years ago and why the whole industry is adapting to it. For one, using a red dot actually shortens the learning curve of shooting a pistol. Secondly, it allows you to be more accurate and have faster follow-up shots, as well as target acquisitions and transitions, meaning you bump up your speed significantly. And third, with aging eyes, it gets far more difficult to aim with iron sights, so having a simple dot will aid a lot. There are other reasons too, but these are the main ones. Yet this doesn't mean you should skip iron sights straight away. It is still smart to learn the basics and know how to use iron sights as a backup. And for those that still aren't convinced, to us it's like missing out on the invention of the email or the smartphone, just a pistol shooting version of that. And as proven many times before, if you don't run along with such changes, you will fall behind the rest.
A quick disclosure, we are a reseller for Safariland products and ship worldwide. We bought the 6360 RDS version for personal use and testing. Furthermore, there was no financial involvement in the making of this video, and we will stay as objective as possible. The journey we had to undergo to get this brand on our store was anything but easy. We've actually been trying to get this brand since 2019 via various fairs and partners. Also, most retailers in Europe only stock the most commonly sold items, which is the 6000 series for Glocks. And that's about it. We actually wanted to take it a step further because we wanted to offer the whole range of Safariland's products. This because there are more pistols than just Glocks out there, and also there are more models besides the 6000 series from Safariland that are great too. In 2025 we finally managed to get a brand on our store thanks to a new partner here in Switzerland. Most famous models are in stock at this partner and can be shipped quite quickly. Others will have to be made through our made-to-order policy within a reasonable time, of course. To give you an idea, our personal holster only took 5 weeks. Despite the struggle to get this brand on our store, our experience actually goes back for a couple of years already. Because we use these type of holsters on various courses in sometimes tough conditions. Whereas we use them while getting on the ground, into the sand, we used them with and without gloves, we bumped with them into stuff, and also racked our pistols on them during some TCCC drills. We mainly used level 1 retention 6000 series models for the Glocks that we used during these courses. And as far as we can remember, these holsters never failed us even once. We also worked with some other holster manufacturers, of which some make universal holsters that are pretty great if you have a lot of different pistols. However, the downside of these is that they usually don't go higher than a level 1 passive retention, which is also known as friction. For the more serious shooters amongst you, you will probably want to go with something that actually secures your pistol. This can only be done by actually having a holster made for your specific firearm setup, which is also known as your pistol model and all its accessories included. We worked with a holster manufacturer that could supply this stuff, but there were often some issues and we had to check this for our customers. Luckily it was never unsolvable, but having to send it back always took valuable time. Now in the end we can say that none of these actually came close to the sheer reliability and detail that Safariland holsters offer. That being said, let's have a look at what such a holster actually features. For this we will be taking a look at our personal holster, which is a level 3 6360 RDS holster made for our personal Walther PDP 4.5 inch with a Streamlight TLR1 HL. The first thing you will realize if you ever pick up such a holster is that very few other holster manufacturers can match their build quality. It is made of a bolt-around material, which is basically Kydex on steroids, and it feels extremely sturdy. This material has some properties that by far exceed the ones from Kydex. This mainly in regards to impact strength, chemical and abrasion resistance, and this one also has a flame tested rating. Furthermore, it is easy to maintain and clean, so you can imagine that this one is built for those rigorous conditions. The outside of the holster can be finished in various options, but the most popular ones are an STX tactical like this one, or a Cordura wrapping that comes with NIR properties. The inside of the holster is covered with a suede leather that actually prevents getting scratches on your pistol, and this one is also known to last very long. Other holster manufacturers usually prefer to use a velvet, but those wear out very quickly. Another thing we immediately noticed when we had a closer look at our Safariland holster is that the threads are actually built into the material rather than completely pushed through. Now this may not seem like much in the beginning, but believe me, it is a world of difference when you try to unscrew your screws, especially if they are thread locked, because this means the threads no longer move along with the screws. As far as flashlight compatibility goes, this one is marked by Safariland themselves to be compatible with an Inforce APL, Olight PL Pro Valkyrie, Nightstick TWM 350, 350S, 850 and an 850S, as well as Streamlight TLR1, TLR1 HL and Surefire X200, 300, 300V and 300U models. Other sources also confirm you can use the Surefire X300T, Streamlight HLX, TLR7, 7A, 7X, TLR7 HLX. We can indeed confirm that it does fit the TLR7A Flex, and as you can see the system locks, but it does have some more wobble to it because it's a smaller flashlight. And we can also confirm it even works without a flashlight, which feels weirdly naked like this. So basically every flashlight that is smaller than an X300U basically fits this model, at least that is the case with our PDP version. Now we also contacted our Safariland distributor for more info on this, and they said that Safariland only guarantees optimal retention and function when the pistol and light combination exactly matches the specified fit chart. Using it with different setups might work, but it is outside the tested and warranted parameters, so users do so at their own risk. So to be sure, you best use the product compiler or finder on the Safariland website to be sure. It is also already confirmed that the new EPL from Cloud Defensive will fit this same model. However, flashlights that do have an integrated laser system will not fit. The RDS in its name stands for red dot sight, obviously, and this actually means that the red dot can be enclosed into the holster itself. The nice thing about this is that it's not a necessity in order to function, and it is also very universal. Safariland states that it fits the Vortex, Venom and Viper, Trigicon RMR and RMR HD, the Aimpoint Acros, Holosun 509T, 407, 507 and 508, as well as the DR Optic and the Buris Fastfire. Other sources also confirm that these fit the Holosun EPS and the SCS, the Leupold Delta Point Pro, an EOTech eFlex and the Steiner MPS. Only the Trigicon SRO is known to not fit because it is mounted closer to the ejection port. You can modify your holster, but do note that you will lose your warranty. As for retention, we have chosen a level 3 security system to show you what that implies in reality. This actually exists of the Safariland, their signature level 1 ALS system, which is also known as their automatic locking system, and this actually physically locks the gun in place on its ejection port and can only be released by pulling this lever with your thumb. This active retention system is very well known for its fast and smooth drawing and holstering of the pistol and is intended for use of competitive and military shooters. The SLS or self-locking system adds another 2 levels of security because it requires 2 movements in order to unlock it. This is called a rotate rotating hood, and to unlock it you have to actually push down and then forward, so 2 movements and therefore another 2 security levels. It is mainly recommended for patrol and duty use because it makes it that much harder for an adversary to grab onto your pistol. Though the SLS adds more complexity to the whole system, in combination with the ALS it is actually a very ingenious system because it allows for a smooth operable system. In our experience, picking up the ALS system happens very quickly, however combining it with the SLS system requires some getting used to. On top, we know from within the European market that most holster manufacturers actually prefer to use the Safariland SLS system to create their own level 2 security holsters, despite other systems like the WRS also being available. We've tried them all before, but the SLS actually has always been the most intuitive, fastest, and also provides a consistent master grip. The other systems also often had a break-in period, which is quite ridiculous for such security systems. Additionally, in our experience, the ALS system on its own is better than the SLS system, even though it is a level lower. In our eyes, the SLS is more of an extension of the ALS. From what we know, most people and professionals actually prefer to get the level 1 system because it is the cheapest and already battle proven on its own. The next feature such a holster comes with by standard is a so-called hood guard. It is there to prevent a frontal grab of your gun. If you don't like it, you can remove it. A new and more recent addition is a so-called optic cover. This one is designed to prevent debris from getting to your optics lens, so it is always ready when drawn. It unlocks itself by using the level 1 or level 3 security system, and closing it has to be done manually. If you don't want it, you can also remove it. The holster is also known to be compatible with suppressor height sights up to 0.50 inch. On top of these features, it also is equipped with a knob that allows you to adjust the tension on this holster. For the most part you can do it by hand, but if you want a really tight fit you have to use the Allen key it comes with. What the 6300 RDS series also comes with by standard is a mounting system. This one is the UBL, which stands for Universal Belt Loops, and it is a mid-ride height variation. It also comes in a low ride variation or a drop leg version too. We've chosen a mid-height version as we believe that is the best height to mount your holster. And it's also a fact that it is the most commonly used one out there. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with a leg strap, which we believe helps a lot in improving that stability of the platform for when you move or want to draw your pistol. Safariland also has some very well-known accessories such as the QLS, which is the quick locking system. This allows you to quickly change your holster, and most professionals that we know actually use this system. A newer accessory in Safariland's assortment is the so-called TQ holder, and this one actually has a very interesting design because it uses rubber bands to create pressure, and thus far it seems to be a very solid system. What we do want to mention when using tourniquet holders is that sometimes the tourniquet can ride out and then you might have issues drawing your weapon. Now, we tried recreating this issue, but we weren't able to do so we're just sharing this information so you are aware of it. As for other possibilities, there are also some mods for this holster, like the ones from OT Defense, where they provide you with a bigger nut for the ALS system to make it easier to unlock it. Another one is a tensioner that you can use to replace this nut, so you can tighten it as hard as you like by hand. None of these mods are necessary in our eyes, but we just share it so you know it's out there. Overall, despite this holster being made for a specific firearm setup, it is certainly very modular and even surprised us, to be fair. Now, a con of this type of holster would be that it will never have such a snug fit as a custom Kydex holster has. This means that there will always be some sort of wobble on your pistol, but it doesn't really matter as it is actively locked. Now, not a con, but more of a point of attention is that the angle of the holster is actually quite steep. This can luckily easily be fixed by adjusting the angle on either the UBL or the QLS. Another con of such a holster would definitely be its weight, as it is significantly heavier than other holsters out there. It's also more bulky, hence their nickname Bucket, but we guess that's a trade-off you get for something that is so durable. As a matter of fact, everyone that we know that has one of these says that it's still running strong after years of use, so that definitely means something. The last con for these is usually acquiring one. As said before, they are usually easy to find in Europe when you're looking for a Glock model, but if you have any other gun, it's usually a no-go. So we hope to change that with our shop. Next up, let's have a look at the reliability test that we have done. The first one is a retention test, which is an obvious pass. The pistol doesn't come out unless you disengage the ALS system, and if you use the level 3 system, it's obviously even more secure. Next up was a trigger security test, and also this was a pass. We just couldn't manage to pull that trigger. What we did manage was to get inside with our pinky, but then you don't have the strength to pull that trigger. The final test we did was the accidental mag ejection. Now this was also a pass because we couldn't get that mag ejected in any normal way. We also tried laying down on the holster, but also this didn't eject the magazine. It's actually logical if you have a look at how the material is formed. Others would usually make a cutout to prevent it from hitting that button, but here it's actually protected. So based on that, we can conclude that this holster is the best performer from all of the holsters we've put through these tests. One final thing we did was a so-called draw speed test, whereas we both took a couple of draws as fast and as consistent as possible with all of the holsters that we have. For that we took the Bjorn Tactical Firefly Universal holster, which is actually a level 1 passive retained holster, and it is also one of the most simple Kydex holsters you can find. It's just a universal one. We also took our TRB OWB holster, which is a perfect example of a custom-made Kydex holster with a level 2 security system. And then at last we also tested the draw speed with our new Safariland holster, both with only the level 1 engaged as well as with the level 3 engaged. The footage we got is digitally cut from the point where we see the first muzzle tense up to the point where the arms are extended to get the aim of your pistol right. Then we added the time with After Effects. For all of these holsters we took the 5 best timings, averaged them out, and along with that we also calculated some standard deviations. From this data we can conclude that we both were the fastest with the passive level 1 holster, which was to be expected. With the Safariland level 1 system we were both very close to that same timing, with a maximum of only 40 milliseconds between the two systems. With the Safariland level 3 and the custom level 2 holster it took us noticeably longer. Obviously we're still talking about milliseconds. My brother was fastest with the Safariland while I was quicker with the custom holster. That may be because I have been using this last one for a while already and still need to adjust to the Safariland system. Going by the standard deviation, which basically tells us how close the data set is to the average we calculated, we can see that both the level 1 and level 3 version from Safariland gave us more consistent draw times compared to the other two systems. This is definitely something important because consistency drives proficiency. Our assumption on why this differs with the retention holster is actually because you have to work against that pressure, and sometimes you may draw too hard and have to readjust afterwards. Whereas with the Safariland and the ALS system, once you actually remove that ALS system, you have a more consistent and smooth drawing process. The Safariland 6000 series are by far the best holsters we have ever used, and yes, they are costly, but any properly made holster is. Again, it's definitely one of those buy once, cry once products, but they are worth every buck in our eyes. Especially knowing that some other holster manufacturers are at about that same price tag, but don't offer anything near to what Safariland offers you. If you're interested in such a Safariland holster, make sure to visit ReconBrothers.com, and if you buy over there you support the channel, so that's always appreciated. If you believe this video was interesting, make sure to leave a like and comment down below what your favorite make of holsters is. But above all guys, make sure to keep training because that's where the difference is made. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time again.